The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRCMedia, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
This week on FRCmedia News, supporters of Fall River's Social Security office rally in support of keeping it open. No increases will take place for water and sewer rates in Fall River next year. And the Fall River Rotary Club is offering 14 $1,000 scholarships to local college students. All this and more coming up. It's Thursday, April 17th, 2025. This is FRC Media News. I'm Keith Tebow. This morning, 4th District Congressman Jake Auchincloss held a press conference outside the Fall River Social Security office on North Main Street, warning residents of the Trump administration's three-pronged attack to make drastic changes to Social Security, including potentially closing the Fall River location.
First, they tried to degrade the quality and the service of Social Security. They're doing that by cutting off phone service for constituents who rely upon it. They do that by coming after the leases for field offices like the one here in Fall River, declaring 440 field offices as, quote, non-core assets for Americans who rely upon Social Security. The individuals who come to these offices think that these offices are core. I can assure you of that. Number two is they make fraudulent claims about waste or abuse within Social Security. We heard the president in his joint address to Congress lie about the number of beneficiaries wrongfully claiming Social Security benefits under the Social Security Administration. Those were inaccurate, erroneous statements. Social Security is a well-run program with very low rates of fraud, waste, or abuse. They are making these fraudulent claims to set up what is step 3 of their attacks on Social Security, which is to privatize Social Security.
Fall River's Social Security office has been serving the region for over 50 years. Mayor Paul Coogan says the president and his budget cutters have no idea the impact closing the Fall River office will have on the community.
Is a key part to the services throughout our community, whether people need help with their elderly, disabled. This office is extremely busy. It's centrally located. You come by here any morning at 8:45 and there's a line of people waiting to get in. The services that are going to be cut from our city, if we lose this office, is going to be probably one of those phone trees where you hit 6, hit 7, and you're going to be on the phone for hours if you're fortunate enough to get a person to talk to that can help you with both your claim, an issue, or something going wrong. In the city of Fall River, Social Security has been here for as long as I can remember, and it's something we do not want to lose. We want to stay with it. We appreciate our congressman for coming down today. He's on top of these issues, and he's out front fighting this good fight, and we're going to be standing right with him.
Joining local elected officials were government labor leaders and representatives of community-based organizations. Rich Couture of the American Federation of Government Employees says the administration continues to make false claims as to the impacts cuts will have on Social Security benefits.
Despite statements from this administration and from Elon Musk about holding Social Security harmless, that they're not going to cut benefits. The reality of the situation is that if they close offices and they make the American people who have paid through their FICA contributions not just for their earned Social Security benefits, but for the access to those benefits, if that access is restricted or cut off because they don't have the transportation, they can't go hundreds of miles to the next nearest office, that's a benefit cut. If you can't access your Social Security benefits that you've paid for through the services that you've paid for, that is a benefit cut, plain and simple.
This week, the Fall River City Council voted to keep water and sewer rates at their current levels while approving the department's FY 2026 budget. The rate for water usage will remain at $4.36 per 100 cubic feet, or CCF, while the rate for sewer usage will remain at $8.11 per CCF. The $200 per year stormwater fee will also not increase, and the base meter fee based on size will also stay the same from a year ago. The city was seeking an increase of $4.41 per CCF for water and $8.43 for sewer usage. During a discussion at a meeting of the Council's Committee on Ordinances and Legislation, Department of Public Utilities Administrator Paul Ferlin said the loss of large commercial water and sewer users over the years has shifted the burden of increases to the homeowner. He said the city has agreements with surrounding communities to pay for water usage, but with an ample supply, it's looking to sell to other cities and towns.
One of the things, that we're always in talks with other communities on is being able to sell more water. Westport, we have that going on, but beyond Westport, you have North Dartmouth. North Dartmouth, they've had to close down some of their wells. They're in need of water for their town. They're currently tied into New Bedford, but we're another option for them. Somerset, we have the pipe that goes underneath Somerset. When their power plant closed, they have some excess, but Swansea needs water beyond them. Dayton needs water beyond them. You talk about Freetown. Freetown is one of our larger water users. We go as far up as Sammy's Lane, I believe it is. But that area could expand out. And with a lot of these emerging contaminants that are coming out, i.e. PFAS and other things that are affecting either public water supplies, and they're eventually going to affect even people's homes' water supplies, municipal water connections is going to be the big thing. The wastewater side, one of the things that we've been in talks with Somerset, them not doing a new wastewater treatment facility and coming and sending their wastewater to us. It gets rid of a discharge into the bay, good for the environment, as well as it helps build our customer base and expand that. Tiverton Wastewater, they've been expanding out their system with the intermunicipal agreement that we have in place. Freetown currently has a study in place to extend their sewer up past Stop and Shop. So, we've been actively working with these surrounding communities to try to drive them to be able to, because we're not going to get another 100,000 customers in Fall River. It needs to be outside of Fall River that we need to find those 100,000 service connections.
Since the council did not approve the rate increases, it voted to cut $832,000 from the sewer budget and $527,000 from the water budget to reflect revenue from the 2025 rates. City Councilor Cliff Ponte proposed the cuts, arguing the money can be made up through savings within the city's operating budget.
Last year, this council reduced the municipal budget by, I think, almost $1 million or something like that. I forget what that number was. And you had a huge surplus in the municipal budget from the year before. And we were hearing all this noise, oh my goodness, you're going to put the city in all these financial horrors because you reduced the budget, councilors. I don't know how we're going to handle it. And here we are today, and there is plenty of money that funneled through the end of the fiscal year 2025. What I think we do is we utilize some of the investments that you're getting still with the high interest rates, and you utilize some of that money that we get in revenue and put it back into the water and sewer enterprise account, which should be self-sustaining. But for 1 year, I think this is something that we do and try to actually, for the first time, provide relief for the ratepayers. Don't come down here and say, no, we're not going to, we don't want the increases. I'm coming to you with solutions by looking at the indirect cost agreement. So Mr. Ferlin's water department doesn't have to have any kind of drop down in services. He could still pay his people. He can still address water leaks. The water will still run in people's homes. People will still be able to flush their toilets. I'm trying to find a way where we can provide that relief, and it'll be up to you to try to find a way where you can find this money, and it's not a lot. We have $18 million in our savings account. If that's the time we're going to do it to finally provide relief for the taxpayers and the ratepayers, that's what we do.
The Rotary Club of Fall River is offering scholarships to deserving high school students entering college from Greater Fall River.
All the money that the Rotary Club of Fall River raises goes back into the community, and this is one of the features that the Rotary Club started maybe 15 years ago to encourage and support education in Fall River, in the Greater Fall River area. So it started out with 3 or 4 scholarships, and with fundraising, we have now raised it to 14, pretty much $1,000 scholarships. So that's how it all began. And the whole purpose is to increase the educational opportunities for students in the greater Fall River area. They need to have a transcript, a current transcript. They need to have 2 letters of reference that they're choosing. They have a resume that they need to fill out and just answer some questions about themselves and how they plan to pay for their education. But the letter of acceptance is very important as well. We must have a copy of that, of the school that they hope to be going to. In addition to the application, students are asked to write an essay talking about themselves. And one criteria I forgot to mention was we look for students who have been very active volunteering in their school and their community. And so they talk about that in their essay, and that really leads to choosing someone that reflects the Rotary motto of service above self.
This year, the Rotary Club is offering a scholarship honoring local arts advocate Kathy Castro, who passed away last year.
Traditionally, what we do is if one of our members passes away, then one of the 14 scholarships that we award annually gets renamed for that one person for that one year, which we did last year when Kathy unfortunately passed away. But then we had a donor who was so pleased by everything that she had done in terms of the arts that he donated money to the club, asking for a match that we named for 5 years in a row a scholarship after Kathy. So that's what we've started to do during this year. And it's all the other scholarships, it's just someone who's going on to further their education. This particular one is going to be given to a student who is following some career relative to the arts. So music, dance, theater, something along that line. Something that I know would have pleased Kathy an awful lot. So there's that one caveat to that particular scholarship.
Deadline to apply for a Rotary Club scholarship is April 25th. Students can apply through the club's website.
Historically, we feel that we've had some major impact on some students' future careers. They range from environmental studies to pre-med to engineering to the environmental majors seem to be more popular right now, and so we see a lot of that. But there are majors that go from anywhere from whatever you can think of. But we always get some letters of gratitude for what we were helping them to do to pay some of their expenses. And our scholarships do not go to the school, they go to the student. So the student can use the money wherever it is needed.
We'll have more FRC Media News after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Auto Technician, Empire Hyundai, located at 428 Pleasant Street, seeks a full-time auto technician to diagnose and repair automotive systems, including engine, transmission, electrical, steering suspension, braking and heating, and cooling. Job number 223-90085. Field Project Manager. Republic Services, located at 1080 Airport Road, is looking for a full-time field project manager, responsible for managing the execution of a broad array of projects for client sites and facilities. Job number 223-95005. Warehouse Associate, Amazon Fulfillment Center, located at 1180 Innovation Way, is seeking a full-time warehouse associate, responsible for selecting, packing, and shipping orders. Job number 224-06971. Production Brake Person, Gold Medal Bakery, located at 1397 Bay Street, is looking for a full-time production brake person. For more information, call 508-674-5766. Atlantis Charter School, located at 991 Jefferson Street, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Grades K through 6 ELL teacher. Job number 224-07091. Grade 9 high school math teacher. Job number 223-94007. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Time once again to take a look at some of the economic development and real estate news that's happening around Fall River. Every week, I'm joined by Kevin Lawrence. He's the owner, publisher of Fall River Development News, which you can find on Facebook every day of the week. He pretty much posts every day. Kevin, how are you?
Very well. Happy to be here once again.
All right, let's start right off. One of the reasons why we put this segment together is, I know people that live in a neighborhood will look at like a building or something and say, boy, I wonder what's happening with that building. I've seen this for a long time. I wonder what's going on. One of those is actually in the Flint area,
Yep.
Eastern Avenue. It's the old Notre Dame rectory, church rectory that survived the fire from decades ago. And a lot of people may drive by it but not know what's going on. You actually have some news on what may happen to the rectory.
Yeah, it was built back in the 1900s, early 1900s. It's a historic building, a beautiful property. The Zoning Board of Appeals back in 2021 and 2023 approved a variance to turn that rectory into a 14-unit apartment building with 21 spaces. It's been sitting there ever since. Nothing's happened with that approval. But we did break the story a few days ago that there was a mortgagee's foreclosure auction set to happen next week on April 24th. I watched the Historical Commission meeting earlier this week, and one of the engineering companies that is doing work for the owner says the owners have reached a deal with the bank that has been lending them money, and it will not be foreclosed on, and there will not be an auction. So I looked at the legal notices today. The auction date for the 24th is still there, according to the latest legal notices. So I don't know what to believe at this point, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Either way, if they do settle the financial issues, construction is supposedly going to start this June on this new 14-unit apartment complex inside the historic Notre Dame Church Rectory at 529 Eastern Avenue in Fall River.
Any idea on whether, these will be market rate or affordable or not? Do you know?
The mayor has been touting this as an affordable housing project.
Okay.
I don't know what the ratio is going to be, but
Right.
The mayor brought it up in a State of the City address regarding this potential development that's going to happen at the former Notre Dame Rectory on Eastern Avenue.
Yeah. All right. Moving on, more real estate news when it comes to housing. There's 21 townhouses that are up in the area of South Beacon Street. First of all, tell us where South Beacon Street is and give us some details.
South Beacon Street is on the south end of Fall River, and 21 residential townhouse units across 7 buildings on the western side of South Beacon Street are proposed. This goes back several years. Originally, they wanted to build a self-storage complex there, but it was previously approved back in 2022 for a residential development. So this would be 21 new residential market rate townhouse units in 7 triplex buildings. So there would be 3 units in each of those 7 buildings. And that's slated to move forward very soon, I believe.
All right. And South Beacon Street, for people who want to know, it's actually off Middle Street.
Yes.
Right near Kennedy Park.
St. Anne's Hospital, that area.
Yeah,
So
right.
Thank you, Keith, for saving me on that.
Right, all the way down the hill. It's between
Yeah.
Broadway and Bay Street.
Yeah.
So it's parallel, actually perpendicular to Middle Street in the far south end. So
Yeah.
I know I was wondering where it was. So while you were talking, did a Google Map search and
There you
it
go.
came up. All right. A couple of restaurants in the news. Many of you may know Almax on the Go, what used to be Almax on the Go in the south end of Fall River, owned by the family of City Councilor Cliff Ponte. Almax on the Go, as we know it now, is closing, but one of their other properties will be moving in.
Yeah, it actually closed on Sunday, April 13th. A brand new New York bagel location will be moving into that 550 Newton Street location. It was a former Tim Hortons donut shop about a decade ago. And they're going to do some interior remodeling, and they're going to change the signage. And once that is completed, it will reopen as a New York bagel location. Cliff Ponte, city councilor and businessman, and his partner Kyle Lima will have 5 New York bagel locations when this one comes online, hopefully in the next couple of weeks.
And another restaurant item up for that may be of interest to people is right in downtown Fall River, Origin, which we've talked about before here.
Yeah.
We actually did a news segment about that when Origin was first opened a year and a half ago. That restaurant is now closed, but now the building is possibly coming up for sale.
Well, the signs are still up on the Origin Bar and Grill, and people were wondering what's happening with it. It hasn't been open since last summer, and people I've talked to, business owners surrounding the restaurant, haven't seen any activity. We finally see something happening. The building has been put up for sale. It's not only the restaurant on the ground level, there's office space on the upper levels as well. They're asking $799,000 for the entire complex. That's not a bad deal, to be honest with you. The restaurant was remodeled several years ago. You may remember it as the Tap House Bar and Grill. That was a very popular restaurant in downtown Fall River. They closed several years ago. It became an Asian restaurant. And then the Origin Bar and Grill, which featured Latin American cuisine, that lasted about a year, but hasn't been in operation since April of 2024. Hopefully someone purchases the building and can make a go of the new restaurant, whatever they choose to put in that downtown location. It's a primary location because it's right next to the courthouse.
Right across the street.
Building. So it's a good location.
All right, we'll have to wait and see, and I know you'll have that update when it's when things happen with it. I actually want to end with one other item. A few weeks back, you actually started a discussion about the condition of not only the road, but of the supports and everything around the item in the tunnel under Government Center. You had mentioned that there was some overgrown vegetation there. There needed some painting to be done. Even some of the concrete was chipping a little bit. That kind of blew up with others on social media, making a big deal of it. There was actually some work done, lighting as well under the tunnel. There was actually some work done recently, but not necessarily everything. Fill us in.
Well, we posted some photos. We had some Google photos, which is great because they can get right underneath the tunnel with those Google cameras. We posted them. It went viral. Other people shared and commented. We got thousands and thousands of views on that. The Government Center tunnel has lighting that was put in there back in the 1970s. A lot of it was burnt out. The bulbs were not illuminated. Mass DOT recently fixed those light bulbs. So the tunnel underneath Government Center on 195 is much brighter now. But now that it's brighter, you see the exhaust fumes from the cars on the retaining walls. The walls are still filthy. Mass DOT, a couple of Saturdays ago, they did sweep the sidewalks underneath the tunnel. So that's clean. They did some weeding. But the retaining walls inside the tunnel and leading in the tunnel and out of the tunnel are filthy. They're still black, so hopefully someone can power wash those and maybe we can get them painted with some cement paint. Also, the chain link fences surrounding the tunnel area were installed back in the 1960s. I believe it was 1964. They are completely rusted and decaying. They're in poor condition. If you lean up against one of those chain link fences, they kind of shake back and forth. So that's kind of a hazard as well. And hopefully Mass DOT will replace those at some point. I know Carol Fiola, State Rep Fiola, posted some pictures complimenting Mass DOT for their recent cleanup of the tunnel. And she says they're going to be doing some new lighting underneath the tunnel soon. Maybe we'll get some LED lighting, some modern lighting underneath the tunnel to make it even more illuminated at some point.
Yeah. Well, you started the groundswell, and at least baby steps, right?
Yes.
One step at a time, things are getting done.
Yeah.
You can check out Kevin's work on Fall River Development News on Facebook. Please like, share, or follow. He'll appreciate that. And then we appreciate Kevin every week. Kevin, we'll talk again next week. Take care.
Thank you, Keith. Have a good day.
Hello and welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today we have Mina. Mina is about 1 year old. She is a lab pit mix. She did come to us as a surrender, unfortunately. Because she is a pit mix, we ask that you own your own home. We also ask that if you do have kids, that they're older, at least teenagers. We don't like placing pitties in homes with young children just because of the reputation they get. Mina will need basic manners training. She is a very sweet dog. Sometimes with strangers she's a little standoffish at first, but she does warm up fairly quickly with some treats and some love. She does have a heavy pull-on leash, so she will need some leash training. Even though she is pretty little looking, she is a strong dog. She is 42 pounds. You'll need to own your own home, no kids, no cats. She's been with us for approximately 6 weeks, so she is a longer-term resident here. If anyone is interested in meeting Mina, please come down to 300 Linwood Street and have a meet with her. You can go online to foreverpaws.com and fill out an application as well. Today we have Espion. Espion is a almost 2-year-old male domestic short hair. He's been with us for about 62 days. He did come to us as a surrender. Espion is a little bit of a special needs situation. He came to us with a urinary problem, so he does have to be on special urinary food for the remainder of his life. He is a whole 13 pounds. He's a pretty big boy for only being just under 2. I don't see him really being like a super big lap cat, but he will definitely sit on the couch with you, probably next to you, and be perfectly fine watching TV with you or something like that. He is very sweet though. He does let you pet him and interact with you because he's rubbing against the cage here for some pets. If you're interested in Espion, you can come on down to 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, or you can go to our website at foreverpaws.com and fill out an application.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website, frmedia.org, for more local news and information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a happy Easter and a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.